Hi, everyone. This is Norman Kochnick here, and I've been joined by Chris Vernon, who's out of his slumber, out of his hibernation, we'll call it. He's English awakening here because he knows he's in trouble because he's about to play against Australia in an Ashes series. Well, maybe not. How are you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Good, very good. In fact, although in a state of shock, a state of amusement about the Australian situation with this whole Tim Paine saga has been quite, it's been quite embarrassing. I think quite hilarious, quite frustrating. I'm not happy at all. If I'm being honest about the situation with Steve Smith, I think that how he's become vice captain is bizarre to me. A man that's actually captained Australia being given the position of vice captain years later, I don't get that. I've never seen that happen before, that a captain becomes a vice captain later on. That's my initial thoughts.
No, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's quite there's been some ironic people tweeting Tim Paine coming out, and it happens to be that Tim Paine swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it? But I don't. I think that it's an interesting one with Tim Paine, isn't it? I don't know whether has he been treated fairly or whether or not what's happened is right, or is it fair that he gets sacked to the captaincy for what he did? I think it's a very difficult one, isn't it?
So, are you saying back at the time that he was actually sacked or taken away from the captaincy, it wasn't the right thing to be done back then? Is that what you're suggesting?
No. Do you think what he's into texting that girl? What is it? Is it a fair enough crime to be removed from the captaincy after all he's done for Australian cricket?
You mean Tim Paine? No, absolutely no. I mean, why I'm so okay. Let me just take a step back here. There's some fundamental issues that are occurring that I'm not exactly sure I know the full story about, but the very fact that Tim Paine was brought into the captaincy at a time when Australia needed someone to resurrect Australian cricket after what Warner, Smith, and Cameron Bancroft got themselves involved with was very necessary, wasn't it? He was brought into the side. He'd actually given up on Test cricket. He had actually suggested he was joining Kookaburra, the batting company, to actually be one of their marketing spokespeople, whatever. He'd actually thought his Test cricket was over, and the fact that he came back and was given that was an incredible resurrection, and he did a great job considering his limited ability as a batter. He certainly hasn't been batting well, but his keeping's been magnificent, and his captaincy's been pretty damn good. He probably was coming to the end of his career as a Test cricketer anyway because of his age, his batting, and even maybe his captaincy wasn't brilliant, but he did a great job. The fact that something 4 years ago has been brought out to our attention now, and I'm just amazed at some of the people that really haven't supported him. Like Dave Warner's wife, Candace, came out and said, how come he's no longer able to be captain, but he can still be a player? How is that fair? That means someone who sexting is allowable when you're a player, but not a captain, which I thought was a fair point. But I don't know whether there's been the dissension in the camp with the likes of Warner and Smith on one hand, and say Justin Langer and perhaps a Tim Paine on the other. There's been something not right there as well. There's been a lot of very interesting scenarios here. The fact that that's happened days out from an Ashes series, whether this girl involved has decided she wants something, it was in for her and she was threatening to release it, which apparently she was, and he then had to do what he did, and then the embarrassment went even deeper and he's just left the position. Yeah, it's a hard one.
No, I don't. And it obviously, whether or not it's all come out after, obviously, with what's happening in England at the moment with the racism scandal in county cricket and all that discussions, it seems conveniently timed. I don't believe that 4 years down the line, this girl's just woken up and decided to release it. So someone's obviously been sat on it for a while, waiting for the best moment, haven't they? So.
Yeah, that's right. And the racism thing is certainly another thing that's raised its ugly head. And good or bad. And then Michael Vaughan's been sacked from the BBC commentary, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's not been put on the roster, which it's a difficult one. Clearly there are some issues, but it's a very difficult one to work out exactly what's gone on and how. Well, I don't know how you deal with it, because it's clear that I think there was a thing on Pujara was mentioned that one of the counties he was at, they started calling him Steve because they said we can't pronounce your name properly, and Rafiq identified that as a racist or issue. Whereas I think there's a video on Twitter that I saw from ESPN where Pujara is laughing about it. He said, "They call me Steve, and although it's not my favourite name," he said, I find it quite funny. So it's a tricky one to work out exactly what's right and what's wrong with it, isn't it?
Well, our colleague on these shows, Monty Panesar, who's actually been a part of the Aussie the Palm episode at one stage, he came out quite strongly about the fact that he thought that was very abhorrent and it was prevalent, and he's experienced it as well.
Yeah.
And look, he's pretty tough-skinned, Monty. He takes a lot of stuff on, so him to say it's pretty strong as well. Anyway, look, I'm more concerned that I see. Have you seen the release with Pat Cummins just a matter of a couple of hours ago, talking with Steve Smith about the captaincy? Did you hear that?
Yes, I did see it. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I did see that. I did see that it happened. Yeah. What was sort of what's been the general gist of that, or
it's very confusing because Pat Cummins is talking being a collaborative captain, and when he's bowling, he'll tell Steve to take over as captain and direct field placements. And I'm thinking, no. If you're captain, you don't throw to the vice captain to take over while you're playing. That doesn't make any sense. I don't agree with that. I find that very strange. And then he's got people to lean on. And well, what is he saying? That really Steve Smith's the captain, he's just the face, or what? I don't get that. If you're captain, you're captain.
No, I agree.
You don't throw to the vice captain while you're doing something. You're captain.
Yeah, no, I agree. Although I kind of guess if you are bowling during your overs that you trust, I think that Owen Morgan has people that he trusts in that scenario. So I understand that, and it'll be interesting to see how it works.
But it sounded very confusing. The whole discussion sounded very confusing. He said all the cliche things like, "Oh, collaborative. I've got great people around me. I'll empower them. I won't get in the way of what they're doing." I mean, no. Okay, that does. I don't know whether that's what. Captaincy, certainly you empower people. You get them to do what they do best, bat or bowl or whatever it might be. Sure, but you're captain.
Yeah.
The buck stops with you. Steve Waugh, Alan Border, Mark Taylor, those good guys, they took charge.
But they're all batters. They're all batters. They're not a premier opening bowler or premier wicket taker. So it's slightly different. That's probably why that a lot of the best captains historically have all been batters. I don't think that it's the worst idea if it works. And I think if it means that Cummins isn't at the end of his mark trying to work out who's going to bowl next over what he does with his field, then it can, if you can get it to work, then it's probably a good thing.
So when he's at fine leg, if he's at he's bowling the next over and he's at fine leg, then he hands the captaincy over to Steve Smith while he's at fine leg. Is that right?
I'm not sure. They'll obviously have to work out how they get it to work best. It might be that while Cummins is bowling in his spell, that Steve Smith looks after it. Well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. What sort of?
Do you think Steve Smith should be in that role? Do you think he should be in that role?
I think
he should be given.
I'd have him as captain personally, but that's just me.
Okay, all right. I'm not damning Steve Smith here at all. I'm not saying he's a bad person. He's a fabulous batter and deserves to be in the side on his batting ability. His captaincy when he had Warner with him was flawed, hence the sandpaper gate. I think with all due respect, they should have had someone else as a vice captain.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think that I would have. I know that Usman Khawaja's been on the outer a bit, but if he's selected in this team going forward on his ability, which he's been batting out of his skin, and he captained Queensland that won the Sheffield Shield last season, right? So he's captained the premier domestic competition in Australia, which is pretty much up there with county or Ranji Trophy. Well, why isn't he captain?
Yeah, I guess if your position in the side is up for debate, then it's tricky, isn't it? When you don't want everyone to be questioning your spots in the side. So if you're there and you're captain, then or vice captain, then people can say he's only been picked for that reason. So the problem I think with the Australian team at the moment is that Cummings, Smith, and probably Labuschagne, batting wise, there's probably no other people that are really justifying their spot in the side completely, are they? So it's probably just an easy and safe bet to go back to Smith, especially after Warner probably took most of the brunt with the Sandpaper Gate.
All right. Okay, look, I'm. Well, you got a bit of glare behind you too, Chris. Just a bit of glare from the
I'm going to shut the curtain. 2 seconds.
Just close. Yeah, look. The only thing is, I'm not trying to damn anything here, but I think the timing of changing captains was in terrible timing. Okay, and even though Pat Cummins has been vice captain, he really hasn't had the mantle of a captain throughout the whole thing. He talks about that he's got his mates Hazelwood and Stark that will know what they're doing and all that sort of stuff. He's got some nice positives coming out of his mouth. I just don't think he should be captain. I'm not knocking his bowling or anything like that, but I don't think he should be captain. When was the last time a bowling captain worked?
Well, I would have to think, but I'm sure there are some. Examples. I don't know. It's obviously.
Victoria was a captain. He was a bowler, but he was probably an all-rounder.
Yeah.
Barama, who's on here saying has Cummins captain before in Sheffield Shield. He's captain one-day game. He really hasn't been a captain. I'm sorry. A nice enough bloke as he is.
That doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't set the benchmark, does it? Graham Smith had played 3 Test matches, never captained a game in his life before he'd taken over. Joe Root never captained Yorkshire, I don't believe, before he took over.
Really?
Not that I'm aware of. So there's a precedent for it, and it certainly can.
Okay, I wasn't aware of the Graham Smith one. That shocks me because he looked like a born leader from day one.
Well, exactly. That's the point, isn't it? He might have captained it, but I don't think. I think he was only 21 or 22 when he took over the captaincy.
Oh no, his age was. He was young, but he was a born captain. He must have captained. Chris, are you saying he didn't captain earlier on? He must have.
I don't know. What I'm saying is that he'd hardly played a Test match when they made him captain. And he took over.
I don't think that's the issue. No, I don't. I didn't say anything about the fact that you've only played 1 Test match and then you're captain. That's not relevant. If you've been a captain when you're at school age through university or through to your grade systems and your first class cricket, your state cricket, then therefore he was down. Graham Barama only said he was the under-19 captain. So
it's more if he's the right captain for the job, then I'm sure.
Okay, Labuschagne, for example, very quickly. Labuschagne wants to be captain of Australia. He hasn't captained at any level of cricket in his life.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way should he be captain. No way.
Yeah, no, it depends if they think it's the right person for the job. People mature and, I don't disagree with you. But, at the same time, if they feel that he's right, I don't think that Marnus is the right leader, but
no, he's not.
Pat Cummings has certainly shown some good qualities in that. He's an experience. He's one of the, it's probably an easy, safe way to go, wasn't it?
So you're sending a message to young Australians that you don't have to be captain at any level. You'll just be captain of Australia. That's wrong.
No, I think that if that's people, if it's at the right time, I don't I've never really captained at all, but if I was rung up tomorrow, you're saying that I couldn't captain my club side. It's all relative, isn't it? It comes with experience. It comes with people mature at different age. And why does it? Because Pat Cummings has, he might have played in the state side where Steve Smith was playing, or Steve Waugh, or these people were captains at the time. Just because he's never done it doesn't mean that they can't do it.
Yeah, look, all right. Look, I'm as a bit of devil's advocate here, perhaps what we're talking about, but I would prefer to have great Steve Waugh, Greg Chappell, Alan Border, Mark Taylor. All these people have come from pedigrees of being captains. Okay, they were the best captains Australia's had. In this interview, and I want you to listen to this interview. I want all of the audience to listen to this interview as well. Pat Cummins says he doesn't see himself captaining Australia for his whole playing career. I've not heard too many people say that. Okay, they generally want to be captain, and they'll be captain as long as they play if they can be. You don't often just come out and say, "Oh, I don't think I'll be captain for that long," or anything like that. That's a strange one for me. Anyway, all right, let's see how he goes. The proof's in the pudding. I was impressed with Tim Payne, considering what he had to put up with to get into the captaincy in the first place. He did an admirable job. He's gone out with a whimper, which is very sad. I don't know whether he was the best captain at all. He didn't captain that well in the last Test series against India. He was relatively thin on in terms of his future, but the way he's gone out is very sad. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think Australia are dead set on the back foot for this series. They're going to need an immediate, lift. And I just don't think the Australian public is really sold on people I'm talking to here in Australia. Not sold on Steve Smith being made a vice captain. When he was the captain, if they really do think that Steve Smith is in the captaincy realm, well, then he should have been captain of the team, or he should be nothing.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, I get your point.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would have him. I would probably put him back as captain, but you obviously don't know the conversations or behind it. Steve Smith might be happy in that role. I don't know, but yeah, I mean,
but he's effectively the captain anyway, because by what we're hearing, he's going to be captaining in the field.
Yeah,
he's going to be captaining, a lot. He's probably going to be captaining when it comes to batting as well. Maybe when he walks up the toss, it'll be Pat Cummins, and maybe Pat Cummins will do certain things. But the reality is that Steve Smith will be captaining.
Yeah.
But what I'm gathering, he's going to be captaining. So give him the title as captain.
I think it's just a safe bet for the media and for world, journalistic standpoint to say that Steve Smith isn't captaining. It's Cummings, who's a, good face, keeps head down, doesn't do much wrong, and probably just an easy one for them, isn't it?
So Baram's talking about Wazimakra was a captain, which I would argue Wazimakra was an all-rounder anyway. Kumble was a captain. Spin bowlers can often be captains. I think there's a fair summation there. Richie Benaud was a captain. He was a bowler, but they're kind of all round. Pat Cummins may warm to me. I don't know, but I just think that it might be difficult for him to. What about if they rotate him? Say if they're going to stick to any rotation policy. They can't rotate him in and out, can they?
No, they can't.
They can't rest him either. All right. So, look, there's a lot more we can talk about there. I want to get back to India versus New Zealand. And we'll talk about the racism thing as well. New Zealand are none for 129 after 57 overs at stumps. They haven't lost a wicket, which is pretty bloody impressive. Will Young, first Test match, 75 not out. Pretty damn good. He looked good. Yeah. He bats well in the county circuit as well, doesn't he? Have you seen him play?
I haven't seen him play, but no, he. I guess he's coming for Conway. I think he's got a broken hand, hasn't he, from when he punched the bat against England in the World 2020, which more for him. But he looked. I watched a little bit of it earlier. It's a shame to see India, not playing their full side. I think I sent a tweet out to you guys yesterday that just the state of world cricket, I guess at the moment, it's nothing to do with. I guess from a point of view it's disappointing to see such a big home Test series that, India aren't putting their best side out, and that's just how these guys, they view Test cricket at the moment. If they view Test cricket as the number one format, and England have been guilty as well because they rest and rotate, then you'd always be playing your premier players in a Test series against, the side that beat you 6 months ago in the World Test Championship. You'd be out for revenge. So it's just a shame, really. But India still should have plenty in the tank to get the job done against this New Zealand side, and I'm sure they will do. I don't have any doubt that they'll win the series. But they're up against it a little bit in this test.
Well, it was good to see Shreyas Iyer get his debut and score a century.
Yep.
And Kohli hasn't. Let's not forget he's in the team. You would argue to replace Kohli because of Kohli's absence, because Rohit Sharma and Rahul are not there, but Agarwal and Gill are in their place.
Yeah.
The fact is, Shreyas Iyer in second drop, replacing Kohli in for this match, has just gone a century. Now, Virat Kohli hasn't scored a century for a while, so it's a bit ironic. Wouldn't you think that's happened? Ridwan Saha, I'm not aware. I don't know why he's in the side, but that's another thought. I would have had Rahul in the side because of his keeping. If Rishabh Pant's being rested, interesting how Rishabh Pant's been rested for the entire series. And
isn't Rahul injured, or Rahul in? Did I see he's in rehab, or is he?
He could be injured. He could be. You could be right. But Pant, who was the original keeper, let's not forget, has been so-called rested for the whole series and is hoping he'll be back for South Africa. Now, I don't know whether he's been rested. I wonder what's going on there. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I've no idea. I haven't followed, but no, it is interesting. It's as I said, it's just disappointing, I guess, in such a big series that they're not putting out their best side. I know there's been a World Cup and everything, I guess, but is this a new stadium, by the way? I've not seen. Is it a new test ground?
No, actually, Kanpur's, would you believe, New Zealand's played the most of that venue in Test cricket. It's not that new as well. I actually thought it was new as well, but it's not. It's been used before on a number of occasions that I hadn't noted, but it had been used.
Nice.
In fact, it's the ground where Shreyas Iyer has played some of his lesser cricket, like domestic level cricket, and done well at. So it's intriguing that his first Test match is on a ground which he knows very well. So no, apparently it's been used. I didn't hear about it before. I thought it was new. So Shubman Gill looked pretty good, but he got out 52. I thought he hasn't scored a Test century yet, has he? Chris?
Yeah, Shubman Gill, no. It always looks very good, doesn't he? I was watching a little bit yesterday, and bearing in mind that the time difference isn't ideal for getting sort of back to watching or the whole like, sort of catch the last session really. But he always looks very, very good, doesn't he? And from what I gather, he's tweaked his technique a little bit since the end of the IPL. Is that right?
So yeah, well, I mean, Shubman Gill was going to open the batting with Rohit Sharma in Test matches that were in England, but didn't go because of his injury.
Yeah.
Right. And don't forget, the Agarwal got hit in the nets by, I'm not sure who it was. I think it was by Siraj, and then didn't play. And all of a sudden, KL Rahul comes in and scores well.
Mm.
So it's these two batters missed the opportunity in England, actually, in the Ashes series. Oh, not the Ashes.
Yeah, and KL Rahul took his chance, didn't he? Which was, very good for him.
For sure. All right, so realistically, if KL Rahul was fit, he would have played. Rohit Sharma's been rested. Despite Rohit Sharma playing 3 of the T20s before, as captain.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I don't get why he hasn't been rested then and then gets to play the Test series. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of.
That's a very good point. Rohit Sharma's the.
Why.
Yeah, Munchie's joined us and he's talking to Ray PMB
it's just
about
cricket point of view. You want to see, the best players. Who has, sorry?
Yeah. I was just saying Munchie's commented that he's talking to Ray PMB about Chelsea and 9 Chelsea put 4 past Jukes. What's this about? And Liverpool beat
Juventus.
Yeah, and Liverpool beat Porto 2-0.
Yeah.
Ray and B obviously has been watching your Twitter action, I'd say.
Possibly. Yeah, greatest of all time. Without a doubt, even Munchie, they got rid of Salah. He's best player in the world by a mile at the moment, Mr. Mo Salah. So,
all right. So look, New Zealand are none for 129 here, chasing 345. Shreyas Iyer, as I said, batted really well. I like the way Gill looked. I like the way even Jadeja batted. He got 50. So, Ashwin even tipped him for 38. It's interesting to see, again, as I said, Shreyas Iyer scoring 100 in the batting position of Kohli, where Kohli has the medal score a century. Intriguing. Yeah, but, I mean, Kohli's due back in the second test match. He's already over at Cricketers Club of India playing, which is Brabourne Stadium. I saw him in the nets there, so I'm guessing he's going to play that match.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
Yeah, I love Kohli as a captain of India. I still think that's he needs to be there. His T20 situation, he's no longer captain there. We know that.
Yeah.
There's word out that he's still going to play for RCB. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I know that he retired as captain, but I couldn't imagine he wouldn't be playing. I thought that would be. Imagine he must still be playing, surely.
Oh, that's for sure. So this test match, as you said, the best players not playing. It's rather disappointing. These two teams are supposed to be 1 and 2 in the world, aren't they? In Test cricket, you'd think it should have the showcase of being a big match, and it's lost its luster here, hasn't it? Because of other cricket, we've been swamped by IPL and now World Cup. It's been a bit overwhelming. Yeah. So, but you think that India will come back and still win this series?
Yeah. How many is it? 3 tests?
No, it's only 2.
2. Yeah. I mean, the problem is, I guess, if you lose this match, then it's sort of a all on the second test, isn't it? I guess it's just a disappointing that there's only 2 test matches played with probably the 2 best test sides in the world. Obviously England and those sort of guys are in there, but England are playing 4 test matches in India and New Zealand playing 2, and it's just disappointing. The pitch looks better than it did in some of the England series. I know we moaned on about it, and I've seen a few people talking about it on Twitter, but a marked difference between that wicket in this test and what was chucked out at Ahmedabad in those test matches against England. So, but no, just good to see India getting it's testament to New Zealand that they're just very good at the moment, aren't they? They, the World 2020 obviously came down pretty much to the fact that Australia won the toss, in 6 of their 7 games. Probably the reason that they won that tournament in the end, especially the final. So, yeah, that's a good side, aren't they, New Zealand?
All right. We've talked about New Zealand. They're none for 129, which is pretty impressive. India's scored 345. Wasn't a bad score. Pretty reasonable. They won the toss and batted, so that's fair. We've talked a bit about, there's currently a series going on between Bangladesh and Pakistan.
Yeah, I saw that.
And also South Africa's playing Netherlands, which is interesting. But the other one that's of interest is the West Indies and Sri Lanka. Dimuth Karunaratne showed his worth, didn't he? There's another century and 80. Brilliant play. Did you see that? Who's the big bopper from the West Indies? I keep forgetting his name.
Raheem Cornwall.
To see him hit the ball?
No, the bat looks like a match in his hands, doesn't it? It's quite amusing to see, to be honest.
And it's scary as hell when he looks aggressive and rocks back and pulls the ball. I'd run because just the sheer size of the guy, he must belt that ball out of its skin. Seriously.
Yeah. They call him the Norman Kochnak of the West Indies, don't they?
Oh,
I don't know why.
Here we go. I was waiting for that.
No, because he whacks it, and I've seen you bat, and I haven't seen Raheem fall over his face.
That's nasty. I'm going to get you for that, Chris. I'm going to get you.
What? That's been nice.
Well, I was meant to be playing on Sunday at Bradman Oval down in Barrel for their CG11 versus the Bradman 11, but it's bloody raining here, and we've had that game cancelled. I was supposed to play another game at Rushcutters Bay, a beautiful, picturesque ground. And again, that ground was against Paddington, one of the original cricket sides in Australia. And that was also washed out. So I haven't had a Guernsey at all. I'm really annoyed. I went to the SCG the other day and I watched New South Wales versus Victoria. And I had a chat to Adam Zampa, who's playing for New South Wales. And I asked him about the World Cup and he was stoked. It was his first match. And, geez, he bowled well. he should be in the Australian makeup for Test cricket, I think.
Yeah. The problem is Nathan Lyon is very solid, isn't he?
Oh no, not while Nathan Lyon's in. No, but he should be the next off the rank, really.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
So Baram reckons that Norman Rakim Conwell's role model. Thanks, Baram. I'm not sure that I should take that nicely or what. Okay.
It's nice to see Baram talking something amusing and not just complete codswallop like he normally does. So.
Oh. See, Baram, you've been egged on there.
Well, I'll get it at some point. I'm sure. It's. I'm sure he's got it in the mix somewhere.
Baram Marani reckons that Rakim has got a big picture of me on his locker.
Probably.
I'm gonna have to get this Rakim Cornwall on my bloody show. I'm gonna ask Merv Richards to go and have a chat to him and get him on my show. That'll be an interview. What do you reckon, guys? We'll get Rakim to talk to me, and you'll see clearly the difference in size. Then, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he'll make you look skinny.
Make him look skinny.
You look skinny, not him.
Look me. Yeah. Well, I am skinny, of course. I think when I look in the mirror, I see. I'm actually anorexic because when I look in the picture, I see a fat person, and I keep trying to lose weight because I'm clearly not fat. Okay, no, all right. So I prefer poppycock. Do you, Bram? That's wonderful. I'm going to get Bram running on the show after when you eventually have to go. I'll get him on. All right, now. So Ashes, just quickly. I know you've been dying to talk about this.
Yeah.
You seem so happy about the way Australia's picked their captain. Are you just joshing me? Are you just playing cheeky because you know that the Australian cricket's in a mess? It isn't a mess.
I don't think it's in a mess. I think that they'll still be favourites to win the Ashes at home. I certainly don't think it's in a mess. I just think that.
But come on, imagine if you were at home in England, and Joe Root was caught sexting or something, and then he replaced him, and then he put in then he put Stuart Broad in as captain, or Jimmy Anderson as captain.
Yeah,
and you had Kevin Peterson come back into the side as vice captain, despite doing something what he does wrong. It's a bit like that. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess off the field, it's a bit of a shambles, but at the end of the day, you're still going to have Cummings, Hazelwood, and probably Mitch Stark running in at our batters who historically batted very well in Australia. And I think that it goes one of two ways, isn't it? I think that something like this will either completely capitulate the Australian side, but I imagine that it will probably spur them on because everyone will write them off. And then it will be, much bigger. I think that they might come out with the bit between their teeth with the point to prove.
Are you referring to the way that everybody bagged Australia during the World Cup and gave them no chance, including me? I didn't think they'd make the semi-finals, and they'll turn around and win the whole bloody thing.
Look, I think that they did well in the World Cup. I think that they had the very, very good side of the tosses, and it's quite clear. And I think I sent a picture to you, didn't I, with the how biased that the toss was in that World Cup. I think that 22 sides that chased won 23 of the games, 22 sides chased. And, it's crazy how almost biased that was. And that's just the way it is. I'm not moaning or anything, that, New Zealand and Australia deserve to be in that final. But, it's quite clear that Australia won 6 out of 7 tosses, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And which game did they lose the toss in?
The game against England, which England smacked them.
Exactly. And that's, Australia did very well, but it's clear that they won the fortunate end in that. And, that's not their fault, fair play to them. But I imagine that Australia will come out and still be a big force to be reckoned with in the Ashes for sure.
Okay. We've got Marcus Harris opening the batting with Warner.
Yeah.
That's almost a certainty. They still haven't actually replaced Tim Payne yet.
No.
They're going to have to get a keeper into the squad who's not there at the moment. There's Josh Inglis, who is one, and the other keeper, of course, is Alex Carey. Matthew Wade won't return. And there's a guy called Jimmy Pearson who's playing for Queensland that's in the mix. The reality is that this is very interesting. They say if Tim Payne had played the series, then Alex Carey would be gone altogether, and Inglis would have more time, and he would be the next keeper for Australia. But because Tim Payne has gone at the beginning of the series now, Alex Carey is still slightly ahead as the incumbent keeper, ahead of Josh Inglis. Now, this is a very interesting watershed moment here, because really it looks as though Josh Inglis has the potential of being keeper for more than 10 years, based on what we're seeing, whereas Carey might be in there, but for less. We won't lose from either of those players, I don't think, but I think that they should bite the bullet and have Josh Inglis as the keeper. As what I think that will be interesting to see what they do there. Cameron Green will get another go. No.
You don't think Matt Wade?
No. George Bailey, who's the selector, has made it very clear that even though there's a lot of players who played for Australia in the T20 format, there's a world apart from the players that play Test cricket. Like Mitchell Marsh was also given some chance of being selected as an all-rounder for Australia. George Bailey just said out and out, no, there's a big difference between Tests and T20 cricket. So he's basically calling him out immediately. So no, he won't be. Wade won't come back in, despite having done well towards the end of the World Cup.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's just interesting to see what, where it's at, really. It seems that Wade might be the easy way to go, if that makes sense. So.
No, Wade's not. I'm almost certain it won't be Wade, but it will possibly be Inglis or Carey. And this is it's a watershed moment, because Tim Payne's gone. I think that's it. He won't play for Australia again. Do you agree? I think he's now gone.
Yeah. Okay.
So they've all been there's all these pleasantries saying they feel sorry for him and everything. Look, he's captaining Australia. He needs to realise that these things happen, as bad as they were. I mean, there is that conspiracy theory that he was ousted early with some, conspiracy about Cricket Australia, or even Smith and Warner being involved with the whole fiasco. It's intriguing, because Steve Smith did want to be captain early in the year. Remember, he pledged to be captain, all that sort of stuff. So it's still. I don't think everything's quite come out from that yet. But all right, so the Australian side will be something like Marcus Harris with Warner, followed by Labuschagne, then Steve Smith, then Usman Khawaja will come in at 5. I think head of head, and then Cameron Green, and then either Inglis or Carey as keeper. Then the bowling unit, which we've known from Staydot, Lyon, obviously Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood as well. So that'll be the team.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't know enough about the inform. I don't know who will open the batting. Did you say you think Warner will be in the mix, or?
Yeah, Warner's there, and Marcus Harris looks like he's been anointed. Bukowski's yet again got another head problem. They're giving up on him pretty quickly, I think.
He's just got to retire, hasn't he? Like, I know that people are going to be harsh of it, but the guy's got to just give up. He's been hit on the head 10, 12 times. He's going to do himself some damage. He clearly has an issue playing the short ball. It's tough, but you've got to look out for what's best for the welfare of a player at some point. And if you've been hit, I know it's relative, but I've been hit on the head once in my, how many times have other people been hit on the head? And it's just it's a really horrible thing to say, but surely for the best thing for him is probably to not play, just because you don't want anything bad to happen to him, like Phil Hughes, or that was obviously this week. So you don't want any way, shape, or form for something long term to damage the bloke, do you? So.
Oh no, that's absolutely true. But how frustrating is it? He's come so close to playing for Australia and misses out the last second. It's just incredible.
Yeah, no, I know. It's not good, is it? I do feel for him.
Munchie's making a good point here, Chris. Chris was hit once, and you can see the damage that caused. Yeah, I agree. It must have been one hell of a hit.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about, I guess, head's different, but if Munchie got pinned by a bounce, at least it wouldn't hit bone, would it? So.
So Barham reckons that Bukowski would injure himself even while he's playing chess. It does look like that. Oh, we've got some comedians. I mean, Barham and Munchie, they're comedians in their pastime where they're reveling in this stuff. And I am not Rakim. I'm not on Rakim bloody Cornwall's wall. Okay, Barham Munchie, I'm not on the wall. Okay, he's not
maybe
looking up to me.
Cornwall's on Norman's wall.
My wall wouldn't be big enough if I had Rakim Cornwall on it, by the way. Anyway,
how do you know Rakim's Cornwall's wall will be big enough to have you on it?
I don't.
I'm
going to get him on. I'm going to get him on the show. I'm going to ask Merv Richards to have a chat to him and get him on the show. Then we'll have it out. We'll have you all in deep trouble and get you all on, and we'll ridicule you guys for being too slim. All right, now, yes, look, Ashes, the England side. But nobody's talking about the England side at all, other than racism with Michael Vaughan. No one's, and maybe Root's involvement with Yorkshire. That's about it. Otherwise, no one's talking about England at all.
No, which is probably a good thing for the England side. It's a shame that the Australian weather probably hasn't rained for 2 years in Brisbane, but it poured down for 3 days in a row this week. But yeah, I think that they know that, it's a shame that we were often planning on going out with our bowling attack looking pretty solid, with some good pace. But two of those guys have obviously come down injured. There'll be no Ollie Stone, no Jofra Archer, which is pretty gutting from an England point of view. But it is what it is. We're going to have a decent enough side, and hopefully, I think the bowling will look after itself. I think Wood, Anderson, Stokes, and team will probably bowl pretty well. And the Australian Robinson. I think that he's the one to watch for me. I think he could take a lot of wickets in Australia. Hits a hard length, and he'll nick people off. It's just all comes down to who bats better, and historically you're going to say that it will probably be the Australians.
So England have got Hamid and Rory Burns likely to open. That's not going to change.
Yeah, no, that won't change. It'll probably be Zach Crawley at 3, Root 4, Stokes 5, Butler 6, Bairstow, Butler. There's a few. The side's looking pretty decent, I think, England. So. Yeah, we'll just.
Do you think Zach Crawley will go ahead of Darren Milan?
Oh no, Darren Milan will play. Sorry, I think they might. Sorry, they might then play Stokes. Balances that side up so brilliantly well. I imagine that it might be then Milan will play. Obviously, Milan will play in about 3, and then we'll just have to work out who, if they go with Crawley at 4, at 6 maybe, or whether they pick the extra batter or keeper. I don't know which way they'll go.
I mean, I tend to think it'll be Hamid and Burns will have to stay there, and Darren Milan will go. They'll be the top 3 with Root 4, 5. Well, that could well be Ben Stokes, and then 6. I think they'll probably go with Bairstow and then Butler, and that's a bloody good side.
Yeah, it's certainly got
floating around as well.
It's certainly got the potential to be a good side. It just depends if they turn up.
Ollie Stone, Munchie's saying, could be out with a back injury. What's the sign?
Yeah, he's got a stress fracture. He's definitely ruled out. So is Jofra Archer. So that's big shame.
So Ollie Stone, did he travel to Australia?
No, he came down with a back injury this summer. I think he was in the Test squad against India, and he's stress fracture. So he's definitely out.
Okay. Whatever happened to Vince? Well, James Vince he was around, but he's not back. He's lost his way a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, just never quite did it at Test level. Always threatened to be very good, but never quite did it, which was always a shame because he certainly on paper and if you watch him bat, he's aesthetically very pleasing, but never quite did it.
Okay, so let's just quickly go through the batting line. Hamid with Rory Burns, say David Milan in their first drop, perhaps Zach Crawley in the wings, Root, Stokes, Bairstow, Butler. Then you go into the bowlers.
4.
Who we got next? We got abroad, or would it be that high? Or
yeah, I don't know whether they might maybe Crawley or Besto at 6, Butler 7, Robinson 8, Anderson 9, Wood 10, and maybe a spinner if they play a spinner.
okay, again, Hamid, Burns 1-2, Darmland 3, Root 4, Stokes 5, 6 Besto, 7 Butler, 8 Ollie Robinson, 9 say Broad, 10 Anderson, and then Mark Wood's 11. There's no spinner on that side.
No, but they might then take. I don't see Broad and Anderson playing every game. I think they will rotate them. I don't see them both playing. Maybe in the
so you don't see Broad, Anderson, Wood, and Ollie Robinson opening the bowling for England in the first match at Brisbane and the Gabba.
Depends, because you've got Chris Wokes in there as well. You know, Chris Wokes is a very good batter, bowler. Depends how they see. They might want to pad the batting out, and if they pad the batting out, they might go Wokes, Robinson, Anderson, and Wood. Wood will play, the extra pace. You can't go into Australia with medium paces, and he'll just add something a bit different and might be able to ruffle up the Australians a bit. So,
okay, so out of the 4 bowlers that they would bowl that have, let's just say Wood, Anderson, Broad, let's just say, and Wokes and Robinson in that mix, 4 out of the 5. There's no mention of a spinner. Okay, do they need a spinner at the Gather? Probably not. Okay.
No.
So they probably won't go with a spinner. Australia will, because they just do, but I don't think England will, because who is the top touring spinner at the moment?
It's Dom Bess or Jack Leach, and I'm not sure if Jack.
Well, it can't be Dom Bess. It must be Jack Leach.
Well, I don't know if Jack Leach is gone. I might be. Yeah, it's one of those two for sure, because obviously Moeen Ali's now not playing. So, interesting to see what they'll go. They might just go all seam. In that case, I imagine Wokes, Robinson, Anderson, and Wood will be my 4 with Stokes. Because the problem is that you can afford to play a spinner because you've got Stokes back, who will bowl plenty of overs. So,
you know what? I mean, if the top 3 in England get somewhere, if Rory Burns, Hamid, and David May get off to a good start, England look pretty good.
Yeah. No, exactly, and it's always been that case in the last sort of 5 or 6 years of England, hasn't it? Can the top 3 support the middle? Because all the runs come from Stokes' route. In that middle period, they just haven't found a combination, the top 3 that works to give them.
Yeah, I rate David Milan. I rate Zach Crawley too. Just see how Hamid goes in Australia. It's going to be interesting. I think it'll be a great series. I'm looking forward to it immensely. With Brisbane, I'm still predicting 2-2 with the 5th Test match down to the wire. And I actually think that if it's Perth, Australia win the series. If it's Tasmania, England win the series. And because we're still not sure as to the 5th Test location because of COVID. If Western Australia continue their border lockdown, it could well head for Tasmania.
Then I think that'll probably suit England, won't it?
Oh, hugely. And Perth would probably suit Australia. The reality is that they have to go to Perth and perform some sort of lockdown. And they won't have time to, because the test match between the Sydney and then Perth test is too fine. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. So Baramani says, Dom Bess, school of spin. Don't bounce the ball. That's very thinking. Baram's in good form at the moment.
Yeah. Well, Norman, I need to head off. I said 25 minutes.
All right. So you're saying at this juncture that India still win this test match?
I don't know if they win the test. Well, I didn't know it was a 2-match series, but it all depends. First session or first 2 sessions tomorrow. India could easily come out and bowl them out quite cheaply. So let's see how they come out in the first session in the morning.
All right. So will you be available regularly over the summer, our summer?
Irregularly, but I'll try my best, as always.
Yeah, these new girlfriends, I don't know what's going on here.
Well, I'll see about that.
How was your new girlfriend going?
Everything's fine, thank you, Norman. All good.
All right. Where's your dad?
He might be about. He's downstairs, I think.
Quickly call out to him. Would you?
Well, you can drop him a message and see if he wants to come on.
Can't you just walk downstairs and ask me to come on the show?
I can try. Whoop. Give me a sec.
So we're just working out whether we're going to bring on Reg Vernon to replace Chris Vernon here in this discussion, and Bahram Irani, and of course we might even
He
bring
can't.
Munchie
He's
on.
not about. He can't make it, I'm afraid.
So if he's not about, did he actually talk to you?
Yeah, he's got a meeting, and then he's popping out for lunch, I think he said so.
All right, okay. Well, thanks, Chris. Thanks for joining me today.
No worries,
episode 18 of an Aussie and a Pom talk about everything India, etc., etc. So 18 episodes. We've done well.
We have done well. No, brilliant. And I will chat to you soon.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
So Chris is trying to log out. Here he goes. All right. Okay. Baramarani, are you coming on or are you not? We've talked about a little bit about the India-New Zealand test. If you want to talk more, Baram, you let me know. I think I've actually sent you a link already. Munchie, I'll get a hold of a link for you. And well, Chris is not joining us. He is Chris Vernon, but the man I'm talking about is, of course, Reg Vernon. We'll get you. I'll see if Munchie's got any time. Just getting Munchie. Marcus Vernon, of course. Lawrence, I should say. Barami, no, didn't get a link. Okay, Barami. I thought I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link on Facebook, Baram. Is it okay? No, you're not on Facebook, are you? So I can't do it there. Okay, let's have a look here. There it is. All right, I'll send you both links. So we are in a situation where India, delicately poised, without some of their main, obviously, without a team without Rahul, Rahul, without obviously Rohit Sharma, without the likes of a Kohli, we had no punt. So Marcus can't come. Don't have Facebook. Okay, I've just sent you a link. We're just going to quickly look at the situation there. We have a situation where, with ESP Quick Info updating us, and I'll repeat again, none for 129 after 57 overs, slowish run rate, but 50 to Latham, and a further 75 to Will Young. In fact, this is not Will Young's first test. Will Young has actually played 3 other tests. Will Young, who's he's actually a lot older than he looks. Well, he's 29. He doesn't look 29 in the photo. He's played 3 tests. He scored a 50-4. He's played test matches. His test debut was against the West Indies in 2020, which I didn't realise. So, yes, Will Young has played a couple of tests before, but he hasn't really been in the side as much as he has now. This is going to be a mainstay for him while Devon Conway's not around. So, Will Young, he was born in New Plymouth. I'm not sure whether that's England or whether that's Australia and New Zealand. I'm guessing it's New Zealand. So, yeah, that's an interesting little situation there. None for 129 against India. That's quite a start. And having seen them score 345, which they were pretty reasonable. They didn't bat too badly. They got some reasonable starts. So they did lose Argyle quite early to a pretty poor effort of a shot. But then Shubman Gill and Pujara batted quite well. Ajinga Rahane looked steady. Shreyas Iyer was fantastic. It was 105. Brilliant batting performance. Jadeja supported well 50. Sar only lasted a short while. He got 1. So I don't know what he's doing the side, really. Ashwin did quite admirably. Axar Patel, Umesh Yadav, and Ishan Sharma didn't last more than 5 balls. Was Southey getting a fifer? So it's Tim Southey now. How many wickets has Tim Southey got? He's got 314 test wickets. That makes him 319. 319 test wickets for Southie. That's quite an impressive. I'm going to get all records now. Look at the bowling. Most wickets in the career. Ravi Chandra Ashwin's got 430. He hasn't taken a wicket yet in this particular game. Ravi Chandra Ashwin is actually chasing Harshan Singh. He's some 4 ahead of him. Southie's rocketed up the list there. He's gone ahead of Mitchell Johnson. He's got 319, more than Mitchell Johnson. He's doing very well. Let's try and look where Bolt is on that scenario. Bolt's not up there. Where Ishan Sharma's on 311. He could also go past Mitchell Johnson if he gets a few wickets. Jadeja's got 227. Amazing effort. Let's try to see where Bolt is. Bolt's got 292. He's not in the test match, though. But Tim Southee, 319, could well go past Bob Willis. He keeps going, and even Alan Donald. He's done exceptionally well. It's a pretty good effort. Okay. Now, we've lost Baramarani. I think he might be still there. I'm not sure. But yeah, this has been an impromptu session. I was going to do it before the match, but I thought, no, I'll do it after the day 2. And we had the combination of an Aussie and a Pom talk all things cricket with India and the like. But yeah, look, it's good to have India and New Zealand playing. It should be a better quality of team for both teams because it is meant to be a bit of a grudge match for the World Test Championship, and it's still certainly is a high level match. Let's be honest. The Ashes, well, let's see what happens there. I still remain very resolute with my thoughts about the captaincy. Steve Smith shouldn't have become part of the captaincy group as such, but they've done that, and they're defending it. Of course, as you'd expect the players to be defending that and saying it's a good thing and, well done and blah, blah, blah. I just think that there's a lot of cliche discussion here with this collaboration with captaincy. Well, you're a leader. You're meant to collaborate to an extent, but you lead the team, you make the decisions for the team. You just can't be, there for the sake of being the figurehead. You should really be the captain, making the decisions, really being in charge. So I just don't know. I don't know. All right, so Himanshu Chandra says, how did you rate Young? He has a very good technique. I think he's looking sensational, to be honest with you. He's looked really, really good. Baram. Well, that's the most... Hello, Baram.
Hi, Norman. How are you?
Good. That's the most comedic I've heard you say. And the Rakim Cornwall comparison, I mean, let's be careful there. I mean, I may look like him a little bit, but I mean, I'm sure he technically,
You don't look like him, Norman. You look far, far better.
Oh, I bloody well hope so. Now, I've just been given by Debashish Singh the Tim Southee interview. We'll see how that goes. So did you actually listen to the discussion between Pat Cummins and Steve Smith in the Australian media?
Yeah, I saw it. I found it very, very weird in both the aspects. One was the way it has felt as if Steve Smith himself was the captain, and it's as if Pat Cummins was just there for a show, and even the media questions were very weird. Like, people asking Pat Cummins that, will you also be the ODI and T20 captain? Will you also captain during the ODI 2023 World Cup? I said, Ashes, the series is coming and they're talking about ODI 2023 World Cup. I found it a very weird interview.
I'm confused. I'm seriously confused. Is Pat Cummins the captain, or has he just got the C next to his name and he's going to hand over everything to Steve Smith and collaborate and be a people person? I mean, and then he doesn't seem to know whether he wants to captain, how long he's going to captain for. He doesn't seem to captain in the long term. I mean, are you captain or are you not captain? I'm sorry. I mean, you got to be. It just. He's a lovely bloke. Pat Cummins is a lovely bloke. Okay, he's well liked, and on that basis, it's a good decision to have someone like that captain. But his experience is very minimal. He captained in the one-day match at state level recently. I think he may. I don't think he's had a Shield captaincy yet. I'm a firm believer is if you're going to be captain of your country, you've got to have experience in captaincy. You cannot come in and be captain from nothing. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, means you should have at least captained your under 19 team, or you should have captained your basically your province or your state, as you call it. At least some kind of experience you should have before directly captaining the Australian team. But I think Norman Singh, given the situation, this was the best choice. Look, given the situation, if we were clear that Pat Cummins would be given the captaincy, the other choice really looked like maybe going back to Steve Smith. So this was the best compromise done. I don't see any other choice what they could have done.
Yeah, look. Okay.
You did mention Usman Khwaja. Yeah, that's a good. But then again, this question that guy has just come into the team and directly putting him as a captain is also not a correct thing to do.
Yeah. My question is, are they looking long term? If they are, then fine. If they see him captaining long term, and he said he hasn't been rotated or rested, and he never will be, he'll be playing. It's going to be interesting because a bowler, as we know, appears to have a period where they need a break. It looks as though, okay, not the rotation policy, but they may need a break. So are they implying that Pat Cummins may bowl when he's not 100%? He might not bowl as much. Is that what they're saying? I wonder. Does that make sense?
Difficult to say what's on their mind, Norman. It's only we can see once the Ashes starts.
Yeah. But look, there are theories that Steve Smith and Dave Warner were not happy with the fact that Justin Langer and Payne were running the show. They were. Tim Payne was. I don't know whether I can't comment on how close Payne and Smith are. Okay, I just don't think. And they're saying they've spoken to him. They feel for him, feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for the timing, but I don't feel sorry for Tim Payne. I mean, it's just the way he was. It's unfortunate, but I think he did the wise thing and not play. I think that was wise. I don't think it would have been smart for him to play. Remember how Candace Warner said the other day that she said, you're good enough to be a player of the team, but sexting is or sexual harassment, whatever you want to call it, is okay if you're playing, but not okay if you're captain. That doesn't make any sense either. I have to agree with her there. Rarely agree with her. But I just wonder, because she came out so publicly about another Australian player, is that telling you something about the relationship of Warner and Smith with Payne? I think there's something behind that. I really do.
It's telling a lot. What business did she have coming and commenting? Makes no sense. And even the media coming and typing.
Yeah, I'm very suspicious of that. I actually think that there's a lot more going on than we're seeing. I think that the reality is that I think that there was dissension in the camp with Warner, Smith, with Payne and the likes of Langer. I mean, you'd have to think that. Anyway, I just don't know about having. Why would you have someone who was previously captain of the country, Baran? Why would you have someone who was previously captain of the country suddenly be a vice captain in a re-selected? Doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I agree on that. No, but one thing at least I think what I understand that Cricket Australia or you can say even when the sandpaper gate happened, even looking at how the government got involved, it's like they have really like a hard line to it, or they have clearly drawn the lines, and they said that this is a line you cannot cross, no matter what the pressure on you, and that cannot be a reason that pressure to win causes you to do underhand tactics. So that's very one way I would say it's a good that it's a very clearly hard line drawn, and in the end, see, if they go on moving and make Steve Smith captain again, then I would say then they are like backtracking, or they are not very uh, being hardline like they have been till now. So that is to see whether they still keep it that way. So the proof that Pat Cummins was made the captain is very much in this. Now, what happens like in between of the match? Pat Cummins get injured or something happens. So by default, Steve Smith will become the captain, right? So that is
Absolutely.
also a
That's
question
what
mark.
that's what it says. They basically said in the interview, "Oh, if I'm not well, Steve Smith will captain." Are they trying to tell us? Are they trying to ease Steve Smith sneakily back in the captaincy? I think they are.
Could be that is also possible.
Quick Legends wants Alan Mullally. Late notice, I can't just call him in. I don't know what state he will be in. He needs to be in a good state to be in, I think. All right, so.
But who was the vice captain during the India series? It was Warner, right? Or it was Pat Cummins, right? Pat Cummins was the vice captain.
Yes, he was the captain.
Okay.
I mean,
maybe Steve Smith was made the vice captain because they had no choice at all, Norman. I would really put it that way. Okay, let's say if they made Pat Cummins the captain, who do you think they will make as a vice captain? Again, Usman Khwaja, I don't be right, because that guy has just come in the team, and his, like, if you see till now, whatever be the case, his position in the team itself is a question mark. So you can't have that person as a vice captain.
I actually disagree with that. I actually think that I honestly think that Usman Khwaja, if he's to be selected in the side, if he's deemed to be a certainty for selection, let's say, then I would have had him captaining. Why? Because he captained at a state level, won a competition only recently, and on that basis, and is batting out of his skin at the moment, then they should pick him. So I actually disagree. I think that would be. I mean, he's not young though. I must say he's not young. He's 30, I think 4. Can you check how old he is quickly?
Who? Steve Smith?
Yeah. No. Khwaja.
I won't be, because I'm on my mobile. I won't be able to check. So check. I might have to go out.
You can't check?
No.
Hang on, I'll just check. I mean, I think that he's okay. I don't really think it's important to worry about his age too much, but University of New Zealand.
But being a vice captain, why would you worry so much about age?
Yeah, but I'm talking about Usman Khwaja. I'm not saying he would be vice captain. He should be captain. Actually, yeah, I don't know whether you'd put Usman Khawaja in as vice captain. I'm talking about captaincy. I think that they could have considered him as captain. Tim Payne wasn't in the side when he became captain. He got thrown into the team, remember? So I don't think there's any issue there with that. I think that they needed to go with someone new, and it also could be Tim Payne, not Tim Payne. What's his name? Justin Langer may not have liked having Khawaja as captain, because I think part of the reason why Khawaja wasn't inside initially, he is in fact 34 years of age. He'll be 35 if he play. He would have been 35 at the time of his selection in December. So, look, okay, I would have liked to see Usman Khawaja captain. That's just my thoughts. So you're right. There isn't anyone else in the team. Mark Labuschagne shouldn't be a captain either. So really, they may have had no choice but to go for Smith as vice captain. But it's setting a precedent for someone who was ousted because of what happened getting back in. I find that a little bit intriguing, don't you? Bro?
I think they had no choice, Norman. I would put it really that way. You're talking about Steve Smith, right?
Yeah.
I said that's what I feel like. They had really no choice.
Okay. All right. So I just don't think they got the best situation having just only changed the captaincy in the last. Tim Payne probably wasn't going to win a national series necessarily either. He hasn't had a great record. He got beaten by India in the last series. I think England's chances have just increased another notch, to be honest.
I would say, who says it would happen in the good? Like you would get a better keeper, a better keeper batsman. I would say better keeper, but at least a better batsman given Tim Payne's performance in tests in the. So who is in his place? Josh English will come in.
Well, they haven't announced that yet.
Okay.
It's going to be between Alex Carey and Josh Inglis. There a lot of discussion was around. I think I mentioned it earlier, where because if Tim Payne had been the captain of this series, it would have given Josh Inglis the chance to come over in the Pakistani series more. But the fact that this happened early in the series, they may by default have to go for Alex Carey. They may. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Okay. I wonder about this. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Okay.
So we had an Aussie and a Pom talking all things India.
You talked more than all things India. You all things Pakistan, Bangladesh. There were comments that the South Africa Netherlands series has been put on hold, and even the India South Africa series is in jeopardy.
I've seen.
Is that true?
I don't know because I've seen. I'm just looking at the current situation in the games, and I'm just trying to see. I'm going live scores. Hang on. Live scores. Live scores home. Oh, my computer's gone nuts all of a sudden. Hang on. Yeah, the computers are going to be AWOL here. Okay.
Must be a virus.
No, the South Africa versus New Zealand, Netherlands match delayed by rain, so it's not been delayed by anything else.
No, but after this means this will be a match. The further on the series has been kept on hold.
Stumps between Bangladesh and Pakistan. Bangladesh are 4 for 253 after their overs.
The huge partnership between Liton Dasa and Mushfiqur Rahim, 200 plus, and they were like 50 for 4 down, something like that. And they took them to
Liton Dasa is 113 and Rahim is 82. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know, the Bangladesh batsmen, when they're on song, they're incredible. They do really well, especially at home.
Yeah, it was very surprising that why the main players did not play during the T20 was beyond my. And same thing coming back to the India New Zealand test makes no sense that why like Rohit is not playing, why Pant is not playing. Find it very weird. And most weird part was today, like the top 3 spinners of India could not take a wicket on an Indian pitch. I don't know. Maybe it's the season. Is it winter right now? Don't understand. But New Zealand batters did play the way, especially the mental state they were batting in was very good. Like even when they were defeated by a ball or something, they did not care much about when the next ball. They did not worry about that ball. So that was some really good implementation by the New Zealand batsman.
I did hear Rise saying Matthew Wade should be the Australian captain. What a load of crap that is. Jesus. For God's sake.
Matthew Wade.
Simon Willis is sending us a message about this cockamamie thing called Black Friday, which is just an excuse to sell bloody clothing. Let's be honest.
My inbox today is full with all Black Friday offers. Join this course, join that course. It's like I must have deleted maybe 60, 70 Black Friday emails.
I'm just trying to update some pictures here.
So Angry Face is agreeing with me.
About what?
About the pitch, when it's like cold, the pitch does not break up compared to when, like, when England came and that was like March, April, that's peak summer. That really causes the means the pitch to dry up and starts breaking up, which really aids the spinners.
I actually think that, what I saw of it, I thought that Ashwin tried too hard.
He was trying all ways to get a wicket, but unfortunately did not. And it was not as if there was, I don't even remember seeing a chance. There were three, in fact, times where Lathan was out, but he was actually not out. So DRS saved him. So twice it was LBW where he got a nick, and I think the second last over of the day, he was given caught out, but there was no nick.
So you say that saved him. What do you mean? If he was not out, he was not out?
But the umpire gave him out. Then he took the DRS review, and he was then not out.
Yeah, but that's not DRS saving him. That's DRS proving the correct answer.
Yeah, but saving him from getting out, right? Otherwise, if there was no DRS, he would have been out.
Yeah, but that's not what you would call a surprise, though. Anyway, so look, New Zealand, Latham's a good batter. He's a very good batter. Will Young's a pretty good batsman too. New Zealand keep producing good batters. They got Conway there. He's got a double century not that long ago. And they got Williamson and got Ross Taylor. But yeah, I think this could be a difficult match for India to win, actually.
Correct. Looks like still early days to say, Norman. Let's see what tomorrow is the moving day of the test match. That's what everybody says. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow would definitely give a clearer picture as to how it goes, because see, New Zealand did not score with a good run rate. Also, it's like, okay, they did not lose wicket, but it was as if they did not go away with the match also. So it's like they're scoring at 2.45 runs, which for a test match, like I believe if you want to test match winning way, you have to be 3.5 and above at least.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm such a multitasker. While we've been talking, I've uploaded a New Zealand video of Tim Southey talking about his 5 wickets, which I was given by Debashis. I gave Debashis
I thought you were washing your clothes.
No, I was uploading that video.
Maybe cooking dinner.
I do want our viewers to watch carefully a few videos. I'd like you to watch the Pat Cummins, Steve Smith video and put your comments about what you actually think was going on there, because that was the most bizarre interview.
Yeah, I found it very, very, very weird. I really found it a very weird interview.
Both
in terms of what they were talking and it was as it felt as it was staged or something, or what, I don't know, because people don't interview this way.
Was it like Pat Cummins was being babysat by Steve Smith? Was that the idea? For God's sake, I've never seen a captain become a captain of a side, even though he has a new vice captain, and bring captain and vice captain on the talk. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I did not understand why get Steve Smith on the talk. It should have been only Pat Cummins, right? Why get both of them?
It was like Pat Cummins had his safety blanket there in case he made a mistake or he forgot something. He's been. I mean, he's a great bowler. I'm not knocking his bowling. He's a pretty good bat.
Angry Face saying Stevie Griffin was pointing a gun at Cummins Karachi.
Pat Cummins bought a $9.5 million house. Okay, Steve Smith has got tens of millions of dollars worth of property. These are two very wealthy men, right? Probably not quite in the same wealth league as Kohli or Dhoni or Tendulkar, who are worth
Norman
hundreds.
Koshanek.
No, the fact is that they're both wealthy men, both very wealthy men, very successful men financially. But Pat Cummins needed a security blanket in the discussion. I have to laugh at that. What the hell was Steve Smith doing there as vice captain? I don't want to talk to the new vice captain. I want to talk to the new captain.
That was the interview about. The interview headline also says talking to the captain. Where did the vice captain come in reading this?
Surely he needed him as a safety blanket. Really? I mean, he better get his act together because he's about to go out and captain his country on his own. I don't care if he's got 10 players around him. He's the captain. The buck stops with him. He needs to make decisions. He needs to be authoritative and the go-to person. If he relies on everybody else to be empowered and him to be collaborative, well, then there's something wrong. I'm not happy. I don't think he should be captain. I think they're going to suffer. There's going to be a lot of moments where Steve Smith totally takes over. If Pat Cummins loses the plot, if he gets hit for 20 off one of his overs, he'll lose the plot, and then Smith will suddenly turn up. Every time Pat Cummins makes a mistake, what is Smith going to walk in front of him and take over? Like, no, I'm in charge now. Is that what's going to happen? And is Dave Warner going to also act like he's the third wheel? I mean, are they going to repeat what they've done with Sandpaper Gate in some way or another? Honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely complicated team dynamics that we need to see. Norman, that's what
really.
When is the Ashes starting, by the way? When is the first match?
8th of December, which is another week and a half away.
Still time.
I'm actually going to be because of my government relationship, I'm going to be a polling booth manager for a council election, also a state and a federal election coming up early next year. So I'm running around next weekend in charge of a polling booth, keeping the Labor and Liberal Party and Independents all quiet.
So where are the polling booths? Mostly in schools or it's somewhere else?
Yeah, mostly in schools, yeah. Or in churches or church grounds or whatever. Yeah. Aditya Rai, you think Matthew Wade should be captain? Not a hope in hell. Okay? He would be a diabolical captain.
No, Norman, I'll take a leave for the show. So
all right. Thanks, Baram. Thank you very much for turning up.
Thank you guys, and please do like and subscribe. How many Norman more for 20,000?
No, I've still. Let me have a look. Haven't moved. I'm still around that 19,950 mark. We went up and down, up and down. What happens is there's some accounts which get cleaned up every day, and if they're not proper subscriber accounts, they get knocked off. So we haven't moved much. Let's try and get it up to 20,000, guys, in the next few days. Let's try and get that. Let's have
Maybe
a party.
Angry Face can help out with his friends.
All right, you call 50 of your friends. All right. All right. Thanks,
okay.
Thanks,
okay, Norman. Catch you later. Ciao.
All right, we're going to have to. So the day's play is finished it's gone past midnight here in Australia. I've got a media conference there with Tim Southey, and obviously the one with Pat Cummins and Steve Smith blaring away there. So have a look at those. We've had a good session here at Aussie and a Pom, talking all things cricket. We've got quite a bit of coverage here of the match, so that was good. All right, guys. I have no friends. Baram insert sad face. Anuj Ingle says Jamison Southey can slog sixes once they reach 300. That's true. It's going to be interesting to see how they go. they're done for 100 on now. They haven't even lost a wicket yet, so they're far from right about their second or third wicket. Let's be honest, it's quite an amazing situation here. But I want you guys to tell me more about the captaincy situation. I mean, imagine India losing Kohli, which they actually did, didn't they? They lost Kohli for the Test series here, but they had a very experienced Rahane and there as vice captain. He took over. Very cool head, as is Williamson. I think Himanshu Chandra, I think Inglis is going to be fantastic. I just hope it's very sad for Alex Carey because he's been waiting in the wings for some time now, but he may be superseded by Josh Inglis. Maybe Carey should become the T20 or ODI player in that situation. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. We have to think very, very long and hard and very quickly about who's going to be the keeper for Australia. And there's got to be a long-term pick. Has to be a long-term pick. So it still makes me think Josh Inglis is the one to get it because I think that's where they were relying on their so-called long-term pick. That's what I would have thought. So that's probably where they're going to go. I'd be a little bit shocked if it's not that selection, to be honest. Let's wait and see. So look here. Why am I looking at the screens here? Now there's something wrong. Okay. So look here. We need to just share that. Please join, I'm going to say. There we go. So, and Himanshu Chaudhary is making some comments there, which are usually pretty discerning. Carey deserves a chance as he's waiting for a long time, but Inglis is my choice. I think exactly the same as you do, Himanshu Chaudhary. I think that you're right that he should be the one to be given the selection long term, and I think there's a lot of groundswell to say that. And sometimes these things happen. You actually do pick the person who you could argue was second in line for some time to go ahead of him, and it's all about the time. Winning in India can guarantee New Zealand a final spot in the World Test Championship. Well, that's true. And they're playing against a lesser Indian side. You would think so. The chances are improving. Indeed. Okay, let's just get a few things up here. It's past midnight here in Australia. Past midnight. Past midnight here again. So I'm always sort of on late. And I'm also going to join me, however. All right. So India should play unranked Turner next match. Otherwise, it will be boring. Yeah, I'd like to see a turning wicket to a complete turner. I'd like to see that too. To be honest with you, I want to see New Zealand get smacked. I'm getting a bit sick of New Zealand. They were in the World Test Championship final. They won that, betting in there. They were in the World Cup, almost beating England. They were in this current World Cup final as well, almost beating, well, not quite almost, but playing Australia. Yeah, I think that's about time we had them out of that league. Have a few losses, or at least situations where they don't go to the final. Oh, I'm getting a bit sick of them now. Actually, the reality is they've done very well, very, very well indeed. You can't knock them at all. It's somewhat of a good performance, steady, consistent performance from New Zealand. There's no way you can knock that. No way you can knock that at all. It's been pretty good. Nolan, which team can defeat India in Test series where you defeated everyone at their home? Well, New Zealand's the only one that can claim that after being the World Test Championship. They're the only ones you would say would be right for the ones in that mode. But look, realistically, India should be the best, they rightfully are the best in the world. With their best side in Test cricket, on them, they should be. But they've got four maiden players out. They've got Rohit Sharma, Rahul, Kohli, and punt, all not in the top 4 of their batting lineup. Even though Shreyas Iyer has proven quite magnificently that he's capable, having scored a century on debut. Very, very impressed with that, actually. And then they got people like Venkatesh Iyer there, and they've got Gaikwad. They've got, well, is he a test player? Ishan Kishan's floating around, even Sky Kuma. They've got a few players there. Well, New Zealand today showed why they had the World Test Championships. The grit. Yeah, there was a bit of grit there, and especially in the batting. Southeast 5 wickets was pretty impressive as well. Certainly was good, as wasn't it? Well, you got to take it out. Shaw has 52 average, 82 strike rate in tests. Prithvi Shaw has a 52 average and 82 in tests. Yeah, Prithvi Shaw's another one who's unfortunately a bit like Bukowski in a way. Gone very close, but can't get. Don't you think Tim would deserve a chance in opening? He is in red hot form in Shield rather than Harris. Tim, which Tim we're talking about? Who are you talking about? When you say Tim, who are you talking about? When you say Harris, you're talking about Marcus Harris. Is that right? So which Tim are you talking about? Tim Payne? Tim Ward? Who's Tim Ward? In Australia, in makeup, Tim Ward? I don't know who he is. It's time to drop Pujara, Rahane, and Saha all in pass from. Saha, I think, shouldn't have been reselected. I think that was a mistake. Rahane, we'll see with Pujara. We'll see. They've been given their chances. I'll tell you, they really should. They should be winning a series for them. India rarely gets in such controversies as well. So that's true. I'm sure things go on, but they're rather clever about it. So Tim Ward, who is Himanshu Chaudhary? Who is Tim Ward? I'm afraid I don't know who you're talking about. Is he playing somewhere in state cricket? That's news to me. Don't know him. Okay. Himanshu Chaudhary, can you tell me who Tim Ward is? I don't know who you're talking about. He's an opener in Sheffield Shield. For who? He's barely been mentioned by anyone that I know of, so I don't know where you're talking about. Tim Ward. He's played 6 matches for Tasmania, apparently. Know nothing about him. Well, we'll wait and see. I haven't barely seen him play, so he's been not mentioned as far as I'm concerned. So I can't even comment. He's played 4 matches. He's young. He's 23. Maybe he's got a future, but I haven't seen him at all. So I can't comment on where he sits in the makeup. Okay. India will win this match on day 5. Let's hope they do. Great resistance over New Zealand, but I'm sure that they cannot continue this tomorrow. Rahul, we'll wait and see. I mean, look, in all fairness, they've got a lot of batting to come. They've got Williamson and Ross Taylor still to come too, who both can obviously bat. So we do have another video there, guys, of New Zealand's effort. Has not got many people watching because probably they're watching the show. I've got to make sure I share that as well. All right. Tim Ward has scored 2 centuries, 1 double, and an 82. Okay, I'm looking at his record. I don't know. I'm not saying that, but he's not been mentioned by anyone at this stage. So it may be a little bit too early, Himanshu. It's interesting how you picked up on him because I haven't heard of him before today as well. So you've got one up on me there. I'm trying to follow his records, and I'll have a look at him. I have not seen him play, so I can't comment. All right, so this Tim Southey video is out there, as I said. And Tim Southey certainly is. Let's just look here. Some sort of little rodent. Okay. All right, so as far as I'm concerned, we've just about done our show today, guys. If you've got nothing to add, we've obviously seen a very good day's cricket. India's Shreyas Iyer with his century, and now the Indian bowlers not doing quite as well as they should, but obviously New Zealand put up a great deal. Latham's a good player. And Will Young is there. He's also a good player. Of course, we haven't seen Devon Conway play today. He was not in the side. He's another player. So I have 4 batsmen who has averaged more than 40, whereas England have only 1. There's the big difference. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. We'll wait and see. I missed golden opportunity to sledge our egotistical Vernon boy. You did, Angel. You missed him. He was here earlier. That's right. And see his show, don't forget. 18th episode of an Aussie and a Pom talk all things cricket in India. It was an episode today. But we went further than that. Of course, Baram joined us as well. So, yeah, pretty damn good. So let's have a look here. I've got 80 there. And as you know, there's no cricket on now. It's time to go to bed. So your prediction for the Ashes, my prediction for the Ashes, Aditya Rai, is I'm saying 2-all. And the 5th match will be a decider. And if it's in Perth, it's Australia will win. If it's in Tasmania, it'll be England winning. That's my selections at this point. Why I'm saying there's a difference between venues for the two. Can New Zealand score 450? They certainly can. Absolutely, they can score 450. The fact is that the 5th test is meant to be in Perth, but due to COVID and the restrictions, the border restrictions there in Western Australia, even as late as January, could still be very severe and may block people going there. They may not, even the players might not be able to go because they won't have quarantined long enough prior, so they may not play there. They may play in Tasmania, and that would mean that would be moved. And if it is moved, it'll be in England's favour. Well, the toss matter in the Ashes as well. Normally, when you win the toss, you bat first, and I think that will probably be the telling factor. I don't think it'll be overwhelming as what it has been in say, India or the T20 World Cups and what have you. No, it won't be that significant, but it's still it is a factor. You normally want to win the toss and bat first is generally the rule. So yeah, that's what I would say. All right. Yeah, so that's what the series looks like to me. So yeah, the New Zealanders they're in a good position here to do something really significant. To beat India at home will be the first time since '88 and 69 or 70. It's been some long hauls of time between drinks that have seen them win that. So that's the issue there. Commendable. Southey got 5 wickets. It's pretty commendable. That's why he was on the commentary. So looking, no Indian. Yeah, I put out a thing about head coach and all the sirs. I mean, Sachin Tendulkar hasn't got a sir, has he? Don't think he has, which is interesting. Okay. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. I'm just going to quickly post that. Are New Zealand ahead in this match? Not quite, but getting very close. Don't you think? I think that there's a lot of so I got the Twitter situation. Williamson can score 150, so can Ross Taylor, and I dare say that Williamson will want to be able to prove something here. I think that I want to sleep. Well, go to sleep then, Baramarani. Why don't you, you big baby? You want to sleep? What do you want to sleep for? It's only what 7 p.m. Or you're obviously in bloody Philippines. That's right. I forgot about that. Maybe it is past your bedtime. I can't help you. So, but I'm going to go to sleep very shortly, but past my bedtime too. India versus New Zealand should have been the draw card of draw cards, but I mean there was more heat and more discussion about the way that the selection of the Australian side has gone than there was about this. So it's just a little bit sad, I have to say. Very much so. Okay. So batting was excellent. So I want to sleep. So Bram wants to sleep. You go and sleep, Bram Riley. I'm not stopping you there. Okay, guys. We might finish up very shortly. Unless you got more questions, send me some more questions. Has Pretty retired from Eyes on Cricket. She has her own channel. She seems to be more into that. That's good for her. I can't do much about that. For India? Aparna's the one that disappointed me. She should be on the show. It's part of her platform. What India need to do to get the first wicket in Holman? Good question. First of all, Ravi Chandra Ashwin should not try to bowl so many different deliveries to get wickets. Just bowl his normal good long length, and he will get the wickets. They made a mistake with this Ishan Sharma. I tell you, he shouldn't have been the side. Siraj should have been. Do you really think? India was behind the cancellation of the New Zealand tour of President? No. Update about Pucovski. Will he be fit for the bowling? No. Pucovski's gone. He might have long-term problems where he can't play any cricket and he keeps getting hit. Pray for intervention from Kohli. Well, Kohli. India should change the pitch to turn a match. I agree. They are behind 221 is deteriorating, and they have taken lead, and then they have both bat fourth innings. You're talking about New Zealand batting fourth innings. That's true. The toss then should favour them if they get the chance. So, yeah, let's just see how New Zealand go tomorrow. If they continue the way they are, they're looking great form. But yes, New Zealand is slightly, it's evenly killed, probably slightly ahead. It's a draw or India wins. I would hope so, Parag Kanoki, but we'll see. Ash experimentation is a double-edged sword. It's true. He probably tries too much, tries too hard. And these New Zealand batsmen had a lot of patience, didn't they? So they didn't fall for the constant changes he was making. So that could be it. 25. So 33 and 89 is 122. 127. Okay. Is Bangkok's career over? Yes. what should be the average for a batsman to become a part of the Australian cricket team? 40 plus, definitely. I don't use the edge angry face, prefer the painty, pointy part of at the end. Brahm, I thought you were going to sleep. I did you right. Rahane and Bajara have Indian team subscription, can't be dropped. I do. If New Zealand has to win it, pick up the remote. Yes, they do. It's pretty ordinary and right. Look, the truth is with Ajinkya Rahane and Cheshwar Pujara, both of them have done exceptional well for a long, long time. Got to note that you can't discount that fact. It's really a part of this whole story. All right, so yeah. I'm just wondering what the situation is there. We haven't gone up at all on subscriptions. We've hit like a barrier at 19,950. We've got to get over that barrier. I really don't know the structure of cricket in Australia. Can you explain that, Rahul? Do you mean the structure of the state teams, the Sheffield Shield, New South Wales, Victoria, even ACT have a side, but it's Western Australia, South Australia, Queensland, and Tasmania. Northern Territory have got some role, but they're not a big role. They're bat slow. It's hard to get work. So that's the structure. And then out of those state teams, we have an Australian side. Below that, they have first grade cricket, which a lot of the great teams are in New South Wales and Victoria in particular, hence the dominance of the actual competition. That's the structure. Is that what you want to know? If they let they bet slow the game will end up being a draw. What's tomorrow's day 3, is it? Yeah. So we'll see how New Zealand bat. They bat the way they're batting now in terms of not losing wickets. They're going to be hard to get out, and therefore the game could fizzle out to be a draw if they bat too long, or it could be closer. But I think that New Zealand are going to bat day 3 out and then be ahead, and then make it a very difficult match. We can clearly see first session of today was really key for taking wickets in both of those. It's true. Why Fortner was silent after 2015 World Cup? He's a proper match winner. He's well past it now, Himanshu Chaudhary. He had some issues, but he was a good player. Especially in the short format. In the test round, I don't think he got much of a go there at all. So, yeah. So this is, in fact, the 860-second video. 554 recorded, which this is not, and 308 alive. That's what this one is, 308 alive. If we go back, episode 18 of the show. Murrah, also underrated. Who's Murrah? Moira, who's this? I'm looking for. I believe very strongly that the fact that the bowler shouldn't be kept, and I agree with that. It's a good set of comments. So the New Zealand interview was the 863rd, the 554th recorded with 308. So there you go. Southey looks very thin, but still a very good bowler. Okay. So Colin Munro, you're talking Munro. Okay, fair enough. He seems to be a specialist short form player. That's probably why. New selection game has been good for Australia. Trevor Holmes selections were bizarre. Bailey is a smart person. First selection, winning a first. Well, that's true. He's been pretty good, George Bailey. India winning seems difficult as temperature may go down for the rest a few days. The temperature, okay. Don't know why that's necessarily a problem. Yeah, the Cummins interview started off like gangbusters. Oh, it's gone to 227. Okay. Should have been more going on there for sure. Okay. James Faulkner. That was James Faulkner. I like how New Zealand play. Most people spoil because a T20 cricket test match is a test match. I think I'll go for 5 days. I'll watch it. I agree. If the pitch doesn't break, say goodbye to the spinners. Don't depend on the temperature pitch. There's already got cracks. Sim played his last test match for Australia, yes. And Marshall Charlie is his last test. Today, Tim Southey bowled an 11 over spell and took 4 wickets. It was incredible. I think it took 5 overall. So, yeah, he did bowl well. Look at his interview. He's on record there as interviewing. Big interview was really impressive, I have to admit. Very, very impressive man, Tim Southey. He and Bolt have been a great partnership. Underrated big time. So that wasn't a big successful interview, that one. Pandas is a farewell test. He's decided to step down. I don't think if the new keeper comes in and does well, why would you replace him? No, I don't think you'll see Tim Payne come back. Pink ball test in Ahmedabad has been most exciting match of the year. I agree, it was pretty good. But Morty Stadium, Rahul can't bat. Okay. Tim Payne retiring well. He's taken a leave of absence. I guess it's not retirement necessarily. We're probably going to play. He may play Shildon local level and ODI stuff or the BBL stuff. He might still play that in the future. We don't know. But yeah, he also, remember, he's come back from a very bad neck injury. He went through some major operations. It's pretty amazing what he's had to go through, to be honest. Incredible. Really unfair in a lot of ways, but he also shouldn't have texted, should he? Would make a glorious comeback just like Warner and bring his side clicker check along 100. Okay, yeah, Payne should play his farewell match against Afghanistan. Well, that would have been a fitting finish for him. Certainly would have been tested home, would have been fantastic, but he didn't get a chance to do that. Can't wait to see Australia under Pat Cummins. I guess he's the first bowler captain of Australia. Oh, well, there's blokes like Richie Beno. He was a captain, but he was not a fast bowler. He was a bowler. Was Alan Davis the captain? I'm not sure. Keith Miller maybe captain. See, okay. After seeing farewell comments, he was retiring. Sorry. No. He thought he was retiring. Well, there's no certainty that he's retiring at this point, but he looks unlikely to play, which is a sad way to finish here. I would agree with that. Yeah, it would be sad to see. What a tumultuous time poor old Tim Payne has had. He would have loved to play the but he was severely embarrassed. Severely embarrassed. Waiting for Tim Payne to come back. Well, it's nice of him to do that, but he might be waiting a long time. Okay, guys. I think I've had enough for now. Let's see. I've got any more last questions before we go? Please ask now. And view, like, and share. And for God's sake, I'm losing subscribers, not gaining. I should be gaining subscribers. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, guys. We might call it quits. All right. Nice joining you tonight. We'll talk to each other again. And what do you watch or play in free time? I watch mostly. I watch other cricket. I watch other sports. I go on to eat in lovely restaurants, go to lovely beaches, do a lot of silly things. I want to travel very soon again. Australia against this English side, I can see England winning the big match, and I think England can win 3-2. Will Webb should get a chance in the Ashes? Possibility, but I don't think so. Maybe in Sydney, maybe as to join with Lyon, but I think they should have given Adam Zampa a go. Looks like the science is in your forte, but random unverified statistics are Engel. Okay. Will New Zealand accelerate tomorrow? I think so. You'd bloody hope so. You would bloody hope so. Okay. All right. Thank you, Norman. Good night. Thank you very much. I do should stop playing against New Zealand. Giving India a run for them under the hair. All right, guys, we might stop there. If we haven't got any more questions to go, we might stop there. All right. We've had a great night yet again, so we'll talk to each other very soon. Hopefully, with more to talk about with India's batting or bowling first, and hopefully a big second innings performance from India. Gill gets a century this time, not a 50. That's what I want to say. I want to see Gill get a 50. 100, sorry. Goodbye, guys.